So I think there's two main things. For individuals, so for talking to supervisors as a person, I fuse to remember that you're dealing with a human being that has dreams, has aspirations, has limitations, has emotional reactions that are not going to be rational at all, despite the belief that we're rational animals. Like I said, I react emotionally, you react emotionally. We all can have these emotional reactions. And to understand in 4 years is a long time. To understand a lot of times these people come away, they're far away from home. They're dealing with a lot of other things, and no one comes here and they don't want to succeed. No one comes here and they don't want to work. I tell this to my students, to my master students. If you feel that what we're doing is too much, you need to make yourself heard, because otherwise it's human nature. If I give you this to carry and you carry, and after 1 year you don't complain, I'll give you another one, especially nowadays. So you need to say, this is enough. Otherwise, silence is an assumption that everything is fine and I can add more. It shouldn't be, but it's how it works. So we need to be more vocal. And I think supervisors as well, as in, hey, these are human beings. My PhD are human beings. You want me to treat them as humans. You want them to finish in 4 years. The supervisors have the highest pressure, I feel, in terms of like workload, not life, that depends on the individual, but like workload. And then they have to pass this to the PhD students, and you have to finish this because I have to publish an amount of papers, or I have to get this in 4 years. The PhDs get stressed, and then they pass this down to the master students, and you have to give me data, because if you don't, and it becomes a cycle where we're just passing our problems instead of, hey, shall we work together, instead of kind of, yeah. And I feel like, so as these are the two things supervisors should do: see a human being and be vocal, explain. You want me to do this? We need that. Instead of treating this as kind of like worth the trouble.
I think the way I came across this course was really coincidental. Like, I think most of the people enrolled in my grad school doesn't take the course, no? And probably most of the people have some kind of anxiety, especially if their previous experience in the PhD doesn't align with their future things. So I think the university has to make has to push also people not only to stay in academic careers, because at the end, I mean, we are trained by full professors in general, no? And people that devote their lives to scientific research, so that's what they do. But we cannot stay all in academia. We also need to go to the industry and international organizations and many other places. There is no place for everybody like to stay in academia, no? So I think the role of the universities and the role of supervisors and graduate schools is also to highlight these possibilities, no, and to keep promoting these kind of courses, no, on how to transfer skills to other careers.
Phenomena here that also plays a role, which is none of them are from South America, and this is not a must, but none of them are from the global South. And this is hard. Sometimes you need someone from the scenarios that are more similar to you, so you can actually say, you don't want people to rationally understand you. You want people to emotionally connect to you. You don't want people to look at you and say, I understand, because that actually got me angry at times. I hate it when people are like, I understand what you're going through, and you're like, you don't, and it's fine. I don't want you to go through what I've been through. I don't think that's not. I'm saying you don't, and it's fine, but at least understand you don't understand. I just need someone that has been through something similar, has been through a different scenario, understands the cultural difference and the emotions, and you can feel, yes, now I connect in that sense as well. One thing that would really have helped me, but I get to be completely honest, is if someone had explained to me, hey, this process is about you learning how you best work. Do you want to work on one thing the whole day, or one thing in the morning, one thing in the afternoon? If someone gave me the tools to actually deal with this as more of a growing process as a human being, it's either you can do it or not, either you'll do it in 3 months or not. The emotion side, and not connect, and also not losing sight that we are human beings. So this is something I try to do with the master students as well. of course, they produce data for us PhD students, but this is their moment. Like this is their. It's almost like a finishing ceremony of their entire masters. Yeah. It's a changing moment, or they're either going to academia or into the professional environment. It needs to be about them, and I feel like it's not about being nice or not nice. In this case, it's more like if you're direct and you explain, well, these are my expectations that we can talk. It can be done or it can't. The nice thing should be in acknowledging, well, I understand you cannot do this. You also have a life. This is where the nice thing should be, not in the requesting, not in the phrasing of things, because then it can be like almost like smooth talking, unintentionally, I feel, but just like we push you. You like, it's not okay. I tell this to my students, to my master students. If you feel that what we're doing is too much, you need to make yourself heard.
When you do a PhD thesis, you form a team, no? Like, of course, you're the lead of the team, and every team member, no, as in every team, needs to bring like a different expertise. So in general, I would look for somebody that knows to do something that I want to learn also, no? That it's somebody that has like a different skill. But also there are other soft skills, no, that are really appreciated. Like, for instance, if you have a manager, if this person is a manager, then it's important they know and have a managing style that suits your personality type. And this is something that happens a lot when there is a mismatch, a really big mismatch between the managing style of your manager and your personality, no? Like, and usually what happens is that or the most common problem, no, is that either you have a really soft manager, no, and you have a really strong personality, then you don't gain like the right supervision that you need, no? Then basically you are like you don't have like a clear aim, no, and that may cost efficiency like along your PhD. Or you have a supervisor with a really strong personality and a managing style, no, and a kind of aggressive managing style, and you have a really soft personality, which will make you suffer, no, in general terms. So it's not only like the skills on the one hand, like not only like the hard qualifications, but also like the way of approaching teamwork, I think. Yeah, it has to be somebody that is compatible, and that's different for everybody, and that's like relative to the personality of everybody. And initially we had a lot of conflicts in terms of where we wanted the PhD to go, no, and the project to go. So that was complicated to sort out for them and for me, but eventually like we got to the midpoint, no. That's a success story, I would say. It's not the case in all PhDs. Like, you can just get traumatized along your PhD and then finish and never wanting to know anything else about academia.
Coach, I really think that the Netherlands overall is more egalitarian. But if you come from this perspective of the background you're from, so if you're Dutch, for example, and you're used to this more egalitarian perspective, you might miss that from an immigrant perspective, this doesn't work. Because if your work here doesn't work, you go back to your home and then you go back to work. As an immigrant, the power difference is way too big. It's just, you're talking about, well, I've already moved here. I've already given up on opportunities for my country. I've already like changed my life. This cannot fail. Like, it's too much of a big bet. Like, if there's the sunken cost fallacy, you know, the more you bet on something, the more you have to keep betting because it cannot fail.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this is what's happening, but I think something similar happens in the sense of you cannot fail. It feels almost as if you won the lottery and lost the prize. And I think this is common across all the people that I've spoken to. I feel people don't even notice this. And I haven't been there in 7 years. You know, of course, it's still the country I was born in, but I haven't lived and worked there in 7 years. You can, how much of a home is there for me in terms of like continuing my life? Because my life didn't pause there. It literally stopped and it continued here. And I feel like this is something that a lot of times people don't get with international students, is that we're constantly under this threat. Some do better than others. I'm an anxious person, so I don't have trouble with this, but regardless of how you deal with it, we all know that we're constantly under this threat of this life you have here, friends, all of this, just like that. It can go away.
And in this case, like the prejudice of Latin Americans in general as being inefficient it's kind of true, to be honest. Like the way we approach things is completely different. Like we're more relaxed, that is for certain. Like my work was happier there than here, but we're very inefficient. So like when I came here, I really wanted to focus on improving my efficiency. So in, for instance, a PhD in Mexico needs to get a paper accepted, only one, and here the standard, at least in my group, is 3 or 4. That's a lot of pressure, but also that means that there has to be some expertise, no, or some knowledge on how to do that. And I wanted to learn that. I wanted to learn how to publish research.
Apart from that, in terms of the system of like feeling praise, talking to a psychologist, it was really good. Like that went very smoothly. My supervisor understood it really well. The conversations with both the university psychologist, the HR representative, it was just very, very nice. And that's what I mean, that I feel the individuals are holding the line on their own while the problem is more systemic. And eventually they come to a point where it's like, I want to help you, but this is as much as I can do.
And then I had like a huge part of my life devoted to my professional life, and I basically was skipping on everything that gave me any pleasure. No, so like at the end of the day, like you lack energy, and then you start like approaching burnout. No, so I noticed that I couldn't write, that I was not nearly as efficient as I was before. No, like even for simple tasks as sending emails or like really simple things. No, like my stress management, because like of course like we get all stressed like every now and then, but the way I was bouncing back like to my normal state wasn't normal. No, like I wasn't bouncing back, like I was going down and down and down and down. They advised me to take some days off. I took some days off. I came back to work. I was feeling miserable. Then I went to the social worker for advice, no, to the company social worker for advice. I was advised to take 3 weeks part-time. I did so. I was also advised to do like a whole set of activities, like for instance, going to the GP, taking blood tests, doing a lot of social activities, physical activity, you know, like actually like the way the university accompanied me like during this process was really nice.
For my work, which involves writing, if I'm not allowed to, so if I feel like I have to write really well, I'm not able to write at all. Like I just get blocked. So that's why I'm thinking that if the university showed us some alternatives, or hey, we see your situation, we understand this, then there you go. And I feel that, especially coming to Wageningen, and this is something that's particular here, the university keeps getting awards of being the best in the Netherlands, best in the world in like, I think environmental sciences now in agriculture. And we cannot ignore the weight this has. And that's what I mean with winning the lottery. Tell me you've been selected, you're here, and how can you fail? How can you fail? You can't. Like it doesn't matter the cost. It's better to crash and burn than to fail. Like you can't accept it. You, even if thinking that is the reason why you're failing. And that's, I think, for me, until my second year of the PhD, it took me a while to understand I'm failing because I am not allowing myself.
If you don't have a good reason to stay, then you're not allowed to stay, and then you need to leave, no? So that's a thing, no? And that's what worries me at night these days. But I think it's gonna be okay. But at first, what I feared mostly was I had the imposter syndrome, because I was in a really productive group and I didn't feel that way, and I had, you know, like this fear of not being able to deliver what was expected from me. I think they weren't communicated in a clear way. Weeks before this evaluation, I was completely sure that I wouldn't get the extension. I was absolutely sure. Like, I was even looking for jobs. Once you get like a positive score, like I don't remember well, like what exactly it was. But let's say perhaps it's graded from 0 to 10 and you need 6 in order to get to pass, no? And perhaps I got 8. that is quite good in the Dutch system, no? But I was completely sure that I was going to fail, and I was looking for jobs. So because I didn't know what the expectation was, no, and I thought I was like underperforming, no, compared to that expectation that was in my mind.